Yeah, even if the thing has been lifted. But you you had zero this weekend?
I did. I had
You
him.
you took him to the beach?
Oh, no, that's the there's a beach in my like apartment complex. It's basically like has hammocks and a little sandy area and a fake dock where it's like on a pond lake kind of thing, but have not left my apartment complex.
I
Like
was about to be so salty with you for
I'm glad.
going out.
Honestly, you should have said something to me, like, and been like, "Bitch, what the fuck do you think you're doing? You leaving your house, you stink
Yeah,
ass
really.
hoe." Like, honestly, no. I've literally only gone to Eric's apartment, but that's
Hmm.
because his two roommates I've already been in contact with, and they're not working. So the only way that I've been able to, like, I haven't been able to see anybody else but Eric and my roommate and them, and they're not seeing anybody new. And
Well,
I found out that Eric's going back to work next week.
when? Ew, no.
Yup.
Oh, this is the thing that makes me.
Terrified.
My boss has worked really hard to keep that virus out of the building, and these people up in here acting like the lift on the quarantine means a free for all, while forgetting that Spanish influenza second wave killed something like 10 times more people than in the first wave, or like 100 times or something. It was like 2 to 3 million in the first wave, and then like 20 to 30 million in the second wave.
I'm
Y'all,
very worried about the second wave because
y'all.
this is absolutely what's going to happen. Like in Florida, we live in Florida. Don't try to triangulate where we live. Um,
In the state.
it is everything's opening up again.
I know.
The beach is opening up again. Small business, and I know because they literally are people can't afford the people that own these small businesses. They need to be open or else they lose everything. But it's unfortunate because everyone should be able to be safe and at home right now, and we just don't have that option.
Yeah,
And people are
that's
gonna
see, it's
keep
a
getting sick, and they're gonna keep getting
yeah.
worse. People
That's the
are
catch 22 is like people can't afford to stay home, but in order to stop the spread of the virus, they have to.
they have
Ew,
to go to work,
they
or
have
else
to
they
go to
won't
work.
have a living. They
Yeah.
won't have any money to pay their bills. I'm just scared for Eric because he's gonna be working. I think they're doing some precautions, like they're going to be making sure that only certain people that are coming in are wearing masks. Have to keep the 6 feet apart, all of that stuff. So it should help reduce some risks, but it's definitely a little scary, and it's gonna be weird because he's been here the entire time. So him going back to work is gonna be very odd, and our sleep schedules are gonna get all weird because he's gonna be working mornings, I'm gonna be working nights, and it's going to be interesting trying to go back into that routine that we had a couple months ago. It's been literally now our relationship has been mostly quarantine as opposed to not quarantined. So today is
Which
actually
is
our like sorry, today is actually I burped. Ew.
ew.
Today is actually our 4 month anniversary, and I'm celebrating it because like I said, small things in quarantine still need to
Yeah,
be celebrated, and
I
also
guess that's
because I'm
true.
acting like we're 16. So
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a very 16-year-old move to make, but that's fine.
but little celebrations for
Ah,
small
young
things, and
love.
yeah. Also, again, in quarantine, you gotta celebrate things that you wouldn't normally be able to celebrate, or things that might seem small or pretty big, and yeah, it's nice.
That is gonna be weird for you because yeah, I guess more of your relationship has been in quarantine than not in quarantine.
It's gonna be weird. It's
That
gonna
is
be
gonna be
very
weird.
strange. When I record, I'm sure next time it'll either be right before he goes back to work or right after. As of right now, I'm still going to be working from home. So far, still working at home. Nothing's different.
Yeah.
That's it. What about you? Anything different? What's going on?
No, not. I mean, same shit, different day. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I will say I've had two or three friends cave and text me and be like, "Let's hang out." We can't. I love you, but we can't. And
But
I
pop off.
basically am like, if once I'm going back to work and I'm already being exposed to people, then I'll probably hang out with my friends again. But at this point, I'm not hanging out with anybody new. I'm not being exposed at all, so there's no point. It's an interesting time, but it'll pass, and then we'll all be able to see each
Yeah,
other. I haven't seen you in months.
I know. We recorded, well, not to get too deep into things, but we had to re-record the first episode because of reasons. So we had recorded the original first episode, which will never be heard by the light of day,
No,
um, at
absolutely
your
not.
house, at your apartment, and then like
Every episode since
the next week was when the quarantine started here in the States. Every episode since has been
remote.
remotely.
But
Yeah.
honestly, it works out. The remote sounds better, in my opinion, until we figure
Hmm.
out a better way to record for both of us. And two, we also live an hour apart, so it makes it a little difficult to go every single weekend to each
Every
other's
single
house.
weekend.
Honestly, this works out the best, and we're still gonna make trips to see each other. It's just
Yeah.
there's no possible way me or you can come every weekend. We have too much stuff to do.
Hmm.
And it's exhausting. That's a lot of gas, it's a lot of time.
I don't
An
like driving.
hour. I don't even I mean, I don't mind driving
And I
every
don't like
once in a while,
driving
but
and
every weekend?
in the part that you live in, I like driving even less.
Yeah, that's
So
true. I'm hoping that this will pass and then we can see each other, but for the most part, we live in a day and age where the internet is a wonderful thing and we're all able to still do things like this. We're able to play video games, chats. I hosted a couple of virtual Jackbox parties.
which
Uh,
is super fun.
it was super fun. Honestly, I'm going to plan one, I think, for this weekend. A lot of my
Okay.
friends, the ones that were like, we should hang out, I think need it. So,
Yeah, for real.
but yeah, like everyone's being very creative with ways to hang out with their partners. Like we're not, we live in a golden age where there are a lot of things that we can do now. If I can't see you for a couple months, it's been what, 3 months now? 2?
2 months. Yeah.
It's fucking sucks. I miss you, but we
Yeah,
also
really.
talk every day, and when we do see each other, it'll just be even better. So we'll be okay. We're
Oh,
not
I'm
going
ready to get
anywhere.
out of this stupid town that I'm living in. Anyway, nobody wants to hear talk about coronavirus for 10 minutes, which is how long
Sorry,
we've been
y'all.
talking about this. TLDL, too long
TLT.
didn't listen.
Oh, I was like
Uh,
TLDR? Question mark?
yeah, no, TLDL, too long didn't listen. Stay inside, please. Moving on.
For others. Thank you. And much appreciated. I
So, tell me, you have a story?
have a story. You are correct.
Why did you say it like that?
Oh, sorry. I have a story. You are correct. Is that better?
That sounded robotic. We'll work on it. We'll work on
I
it.
have a story. Sorry. That was... Is that better?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I
Better.
wanted to talk about, have you been able to, well, actually I don't think you're really into it. I love American Horror Story. American Horror Story is one of my favorite shows because I, as you know, which is why we have this podcast, am a spook queen. Don't talk to me, y'all, about the newest season that just came out last year because I'm still in the middle of it. I know I'm very behind, but I haven't been able to catch up. One of my favorite seasons of American Horror Story is Hotel. If you've ever seen American Horror Story Hotel, that's the one with Lady Gaga and all of the lovely other people like Evan Peters. And Hotel is based off an actual hotel.
Oh, I know what you're talking. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so I'm really
Yes,
excited to
I
talk
do.
about it. So, the hotel, it is now called Stay on Main Hotel in Los Angeles, but it was formerly known as the Cecil Hotel,
The
Hotel
Cecil
Cecil,
Hotel.
and then
Yes. Okay, so
informally known as the Cecil, apparently.
I have not watched all of American Horror Story,
Really?
but correct. No, I haven't. I know I need to. I've been told because
It's
I
really
mean,
good, and now
we
most of
both
the seasons are out,
yeah.
very available for you to be able to watch
I
it.
know. I know. I don't watch a ton of TV anyway, and so I really got to like
Buckle down to
push.
actually do
Yeah,
it.
I really got to like push myself to actually sit down and watch something that will take more time than just
I
sitting there
promise
watching
it's
a
worth
movie.
it
But
because you'll get super invested in the characters and the stories. I do recommend Hotel. Hotel's a very, very good season.
mhm,
I've heard mixed things,
that's
but
what I've
I feel
heard.
like the people that don't like Hotel are just because they just don't like Lady Gaga. But Lady Gaga's a really good actress, so
Who doesn't like Lady Gaga?
people that are heathens
Yeah,
or
really.
homophobes.
Okay. So tell me. Oh, yeah, I guess that's true. So tell me about the Cecil Hotel
So it is a
slash stay on
slash
Main.
the stay on Main. The Cecil Hotel is a budget hotel in downtown Los Angeles, and it opened in 1927. It has 600 rooms. The hotel has a very, very interesting history. As of right now, since 2017, it's been being renovated and redeveloped into a mix of hotel rooms and residential units, which is interesting.
Ooh, I don't like that.
Yeah,
We're not
it,
even to the spook yet, but I don't like that.
you know that
Is
it's
this the
not a
one?
great idea.
This is the hotel with the Black Dahlia, right? One of us has got to cover the Black Dahlia at some point.
Yeah,
But anyway,
there's a couple of deaths in here that I want to go into more detail, but I'll be touching on later. So the Cecil Hotel was rebuilt in 1924 by William Banks Hayner as a destination for business travelers and tourists. It was designed to kind of be in a certain art style, and the hotel cost $1 million to complete. And it has a huge, or it used to have a huge marble lobby with stained glass windows, potted plums.
like, wait. $1 million at the time?
Yes,
Okay, wait. What year was that?
1927.
I'm gonna do some Google math. Oops. I want to know
Some
how much it.
Google math.
I want to know how much it would have completed to cost now. 1927 to now, inflation conversion. Sure. Okay, so 14,087,365.32.
Jesus Christ.
So it took $14 million to build the Cecil Hotel in today's money.
Yeah, and he had invested in this thinking that with the knowledge there were several similar hotels that had been established other places in downtown, but within 5 years of the hotel being open, unfortunately this was the Great Depression era. So it did flourish as a fashionable destination in the 1940s, and the hotel saw a decline as a nearby area known as Skid Row at the time became kind of increasingly more populated. As many as 10,000 homeless people lived within that area. The 1950s, the hotel had kind of gained a bad reputation for people because those people were trying to take not over the hotel, but they were going to the hotel. In 2007, a portion of the hotel was refurbished as new owners took over. And in 2011, the Cecil Hotel was rebranded as Stay on Main, complete with a whole new brand, website, look, everything. They even had a new website and it expired at the end of 2013 for some reason. They just like stopped using it. I don't know why.
But the stay on Main or the Cecil
The
Hotel?
CecilHotel.com. They stopped using that. The Cecil Hotel had gotten such a bad name that everything
Oh,
relating to the Cecil Hotel just died. Like they did not want to talk about it
oh,
because it
oh
had such
well.
a
Too
bad
bad.
reputation, a terrible reputation. In 2014, the hotel was sold to a New York City guy named Richard Bourne for 30 million, and he acquired a 99-year ground lease on the property. He committed to the preservation of architecturally or historically significant components, such as the hotel's lobby, but his company planned to completely redevelop the interior and fix the work that had been done in more recent years. So he wanted to make it more cohesive, look better, feel better. They were renovating rooms, but he also planned to have a rooftop pool, gym, and lounge. The construction was projected to be complete in 2019. In February of 2017, the Los Angeles City Council deemed the Cecil a historic cultural monument because of how it was presented in the early 20th century, kind of American hotel, and I don't know, it was just like kind of a landmark. So now,
Yeah,
are
but
you
it's still
ready
haunted as
for?
fuck, right?
I would say, so now are you ready for the spook?
I'm always ready for the spooks.
So, because of the area that it's in, being close to Skid Row and being around people that are just in bad things and have bad times, a lot of suicides and other violent deaths, happen near and on premises quite frequently. The first documented suicide at the Cecil was reported in 1931 when a guest named W.K. Norton died in his room after taking poison capsules. And throughout the 1940s and 50s, more and more just kept happening. In the 60s, residents that had begun to call the Cecil the suicide because so many
Oh
people
no.
started just killing themselves there. Not only was that a big thing, but like you said, in 1947, Elizabeth Short, dubbed by the media as the Black Dahlia, was rumored to have been spotted drinking at the Cecil's bar in the days before her unsolved murder. In 1964, a retired telephone operator named Pigeon Goldie Osgood, you know that
What a
old name,
name. Yeah, really.
who had
I didn't
been a
realize I knew the name of my future daughter until just now.
Pigeon Golden. I love her. She's my favorite.
Jeez.
Who had been well known and well liked, a long term resident at the hotel, was actually found dead in her room. She had been raped, stabbed, and beaten, and her room was ruined.
Oh my god.
A man named Jacques B. Ellinger was charged with Osgood's murder, but he was
Yeah,
later
you want to
cleared.
pronounce that again?
No, I don't want to.
Uh,
But yeah, her death remains unsolved.
so
In
he was so sorry. I probably interrupted you. He was charged with
with her
Pigeon's death.
murder, but he was later cleared for it.
Okay.
Infamously, in the 1980s, the hotel was rumored to be the residence of Richard Ramirez, who is the Night Stalker. So
Oh
Ramirez had
yes.
been a regular person to kind of attend Skid Row in that area, and according to a hotel clerk who claims to have spoken to him, it is rumored he had stayed at the Cecil for a couple of weeks. He may have engaged in part of his killing spree while staying there, and another serial killer, Jack Unterweger, stayed at the Cecil in 1991, and they kind of think that this guy was like a copycat of Richard Ramirez. So while he
Oh,
was there, he strangled and killed at least 3 sex workers. He was charged for their deaths in Austria, where he's from, and he
okay.
hanged himself actually before he got convicted. So he committed suicide before he even went to jail.
At the hotel?
No, no, no.
Oh,
Back in
okay.
Austria, but before
Okay.
he could be charged, essentially. In 2013, the Cecil by then had been rebranded as Stay on Main. Someone named Eliza Lamb, a young Canadian student.
Oh, Eliza Lamb happened here too.
It did. Eventually, I'll get
Okay.
into more, like, maybe we'll cover it, but honestly, a lot of people have covered Eliza Lamb, and I don't know if
Right,
it's super
right.
original. But
I
yes,
actually
Eliza
have a
Lamb was
plan.
here.
I actually have a plan for that
Okay.
because it also ties into video gaming, but it's not going to happen yet.
Okay,
So
okay.
hang off on the Eliza Lamb because I'm going to do it.
Okay. Yeah,
No spoilers.
yeah, no spoilers. I won't go into it, but if you know what Eliza Lamb is, this is also the same place that happened. So, some other deaths, I'm going to mention some suicides and other things. On November 19th, 1931, the first one I already went over was W.K. Norton. He was 46. He was found dead in his room after ingesting poison capsules. A week
What a way to
prior
go.
to that, yeah, exactly, Norton had checked into the Cecil under the name James Willies, which I don't
What a name.
understand why he did that, but maybe he was trying to cover for something. But
I
it appears
guess.
to be the earliest known suicide that they know of at the hotel. The next one after that was about a year later. In September of 1932, a maid found Benjamin Dodich, 25, dead from a self inflicted gunshot wound to the head. He didn't even leave a note,
Oh,
just dead.
that's awful.
Yeah.
Jeez.
In late July 1934, former Army Medical Corps Sergeant Louis D. Borden, 53, was found dead in his room at the Cecil. He had slashed his throat with a razor. Borden left many notes, one of which cited poor health as the reason why he really wanted to go. At 53, I don't know why. In March
Well, I mean,
1930s, I
you could
guess.
have heart problems
But
at
why
that
in the
point.
hotel?
Well,
You're
that's a
making it
whole different thing.
worse.
Yeah.
Eh, stop adding to the deaths, please.
Quit being another ghost.
Yeah, like they already have 2 or 3 at this point. But in March 1937, Grace Margot fell from a ninth-story window. Her fall was broken by telephone wires, which wrapped around her body. She later died at the Georgia Street Receiving Hospital, and they were unable to determine whether it was an accident or suicide because I guess she was just never responsive. So they just were like, "We don't
Mm,
know. She did."
okay.
In January 1938, United States Marine Corps fireman Roy Thompson, who was 35, jumped from the Cecil's top floor and was found on the skylight of a neighboring building, and he had been staying at
Whew.
the Cecil for many weeks. In May 1939, Navy officer Irwin C. Niblett
Nibbler.
39, was found dead in his room after ingesting poison. What's with all these poison deaths is my question is
Yeah,
like
really.
what kind of poison? You just like the guy that has poison like
Where did
you
you
just
get that?
get yeah, where did you get that? And what?
I mean, that was in the 1930s, right? That first one. So there was probably
Yeah,
an apothecary around the corner.
but still though, like poison pill whatever.
I don't know. I mean,
In
poison could be anything. You can get rat poison at a
well,
at
that's what I'm
a
saying. So
store.
I'm like, why would you just use but whatever?
I
It's
mean, it
poison
doesn't
pills.
specify what kind of poison, so who
It's just
knows?
interesting. In September 1944, Dorothy Jean Purcell, 19, was sharing a room at the Cecil with her boyfriend, who was a shoe salesman. Purcell, who had apparently been unaware that she was pregnant, went into labor, and she
What?
later testified that she did not want to disrupt her boyfriend, so she went to the bathroom where she gave birth to the baby. Thinking the baby was dead, she just threw him out of the window. And then
Holy
he
shit.
landed on the roof of the next door building, and she was charged with murder, obviously, because what
Yeah,
the
really.
fuck? Three psychiatrists testified that she was mentally confused at the time of the incident, and in January 1945, she was found not guilty by reason of insanity. But honestly, she might have honestly been that mentally ill that she thought that that was a normal thing to do.
I I'm still caught by like how you didn't know you were pregnant enough
That
to
happens
go
a
into
lot
labor.
apparently where people just don't realize that they're that pregnant. They're usually like have polycystic ovarian syndrome, and so missed
Okay.
periods don't like show like any concern for them because they're just used to it.
Oh. See, my PCOS, not that anybody needed to know this, but my PCOS makes it so that I have multiple periods a month. It's terrible.
Yeah, honestly, I've heard of that happening, or someone, most people that I've heard of it happening to usually have something like that where they just never really had regular periods, or they thought weight gain was because of a different medication they were taking, or they were already heavier, so they didn't show as much because they didn't realize. So there's a
But
lot of
still, like,
factors. So yeah, in November of 1947, Robert Smith died after jumping out of one of the Cecil's seven-floor windows. On October 22nd, 1954, San Francisco stationery firm employee Helen Gurney jumped from the window of her seventh floor room and landed on top of the Cecil's marquee. 1 week prior, she had registered at the hotel under the name Margaret Brown, so she wasn't even using her real name. On February 11th, 1962, Julia Frances Moore, 50, jumped from the window of her eighth floor room and landed in a second story interior light well. Moore did not leave a suicide note, and among all of her things, the only thing that was really found was a bus ticket from St. Louis, 59 cents in change, and an Illinois bank book showing a balance of $1,800. On October 12th, 1962, Pauline Otten, 27, jumped from the window of her ninth floor room after an argument with her estranged husband. Her husband had left the room prior to her suicide, and unfortunately, she landed on a pedestrian when she jumped, so she killed both
oh,
of them
so they
instantly.
both gone.
Yep. And
Poor
there was
person.
no witnesses, so they originally thought that Pauline had committed suicide with the person that she fell on, but they was soon determined that that wasn't
Oh,
possible because his hands were in his pockets and he was still wearing his shoes. So if he had jumped, his shoes would have most likely fallen off, or his hands would have not been in his pockets because as a reflex, you wouldn't really keep your hands in your pockets if you're falling. Like it's more likely that you would have flailed a little bit. So they
yeah.
were like, "Oh, this man was just
Taking a
walking down
stroll.
the sidewalk and just boop."
I'm sorry. Can you hear the cat meowing?
Now I can.
I'm sorry. It caught me off guard.
You were meow.
Yeah.
On December 20th, 1975, a still unidentified person who's probably in her early 20s jumped from her 12th floor window onto the Cecil's second floor roof. She had registered at the hotel on December 16th under the name Allison Lowell and was staying in room 327, but she's never been identified even still.
So she might not be Allison Lowell.
No, they've proved that she wasn't.
Okay.
On September 1st, 1992, a black male adult was found dead in the alley behind the hotel. Authorities believe that he either fell or jumped or was pushed from the 15th floor. At the time of his death, he was 5 feet 9 inches and weighed about 185 pounds. So he was wearing blue sweatpants and a black sweatshirt over a gray t shirt, and they kind of placed him to be around 20 to 30 ish. His true identity has never been released or talked about, and honestly, they just really didn't try, most likely because he was black and they were just like,
Oh,
whatever. They've never
yeah,
identified him ever. And this was not that long. This was in 1992, so they could have.
92. Yeah.
They just didn't. And then
That's really
obviously
crappy because
Eliza.
he's probably got family.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure they probably know now, and even if they don't, it's nice to find those things out, but it's insane that that's the society we live in.
Yeah.
Um, on June. Sorry, my throat's like going out. I'm gonna
Take
take a
a
sip of
second to drink
something.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that sounded so good. You gotta leave that in.
uh,
Okay.
on
Sorry.
on June 13th, 2015, the body of a 28-year-old male was found outside of the hotel. They believe he might have committed suicide by jumping from the hotel, but a spokesperson from the county coroner informed the Los Angeles Times that the cause of death had not yet been determined, so they don't really think that he might have jumped. But there have been at least 16 deaths at the Cecil resulting from non natural causes, whether that's suicide, murder, accidental. This also excludes a different person in 1940. Her name was Dorothy, and she took poison at the hotel, but no one talked about if she died or not. Like, no one followed up on that. She took, like, poison pills or something, and no one ever followed up to see if she actually died, but that's at least 16 deaths from non natural causes in the hotel, which is
That's many people.
pretty high considering the hotel is not very big and the fact that it's just an
It makes you
interesting
wonder
series.
because, like, I mean, okay, so maybe the first couple were just a coincidence, but after some point, it makes you wonder because of all of the people who have died there
Is it
from
just repeating
unnatural
itself?
causes. Is it something like that where, like, the energy from
The
that
first
building
ones.
is just driving people to do these things
Or
where
was the energy from the building even before anyone died was just awful and that's what caused the first people to commit their suicides?
I guess it depends on,
Or
like, the history of the area that it was built
yeah,
on too.
it could be from the first couple people who committed suicide. It could be from I feel like a lot of times that I've heard things like this is that people that are in bad places that are already contemplating suicide and murder and terrible things already gravitate towards places that have bad energy. So it could have
Like,
just
even
had bad
without knowing it.
energy and just
Yeah.
they are gravitating towards it, but a lot of people hear noises, they hear things in the halls, they hear people talking, they hear banging, just things that like shouldn't happen, shower noises when no one's in the shower. And they've tried to rebrand the hotel and be like, it's fine, everything's great. Obviously not. People are still experiencing problems years and years later. It's been open for like 70 years and people are still having issues in this hotel.
Yeah,
So
really.
it's just interesting. And I really do like how they portrayed it in uh, American Horror Story Hotel. I think they did a really great job considering. I want to eventually talk about Eliza Lamb, or one of us eventually talk about it. I wanted to go into more detail because hers is probably the most interesting case because she
Yeah.
was such a timid, shy girl, and
And it's
everything
so
and how
weird.
she was found was very, very interesting.
Everything about that case is really weird.
It just doesn't seem real. It feels like she just went nuts or something. Something happened there that we're missing. There's like chunks of time that are just unaccounted for, but I'm excited to talk about it. And this was only a couple years ago, and I'm really sorry to her family. Like, I think she
Hmm.
died in 2015 or 20. Yeah, I think she died in 2015. So it's been a bit of time, and it's just sad to see. No, actually, she died in 2013, and it's just really
Yeah.
sad that she was only 21. She was 21
Yeah.
years old. She died very, very young in a very tragic way, and her family, she was missing for a very long time, and it's just hard to see someone so young taken like that in this age. So, in such a mysterious, weird way.
She disappeared the day after my birthday,
Which day? Let me see. Oh, March
January
27th.
31st.
Oh, it says
No,
March
she
27th.
This says here, I just
Oh,
Googled
sorry,
it.
I just realized what you said.
Yeah.
But she
She was,
was found on February 19th.
yeah, so like over 2 weeks had passed between when she disappeared and when her body was found.
Yeah, which is insane. So, yeah, we'll definitely go into that if someone wants to look it up as a preface, or if they want to save it for us to talk about. Definitely do that. But it's a very interesting case, and it's interesting to see. She's been portrayed in a couple. I don't think that they're actually have talked about it a lot in a while, but I wouldn't be surprised if they portrayed it in future shows like American Horror Story or whatever, because
Well,
it's so
sure.
odd.
Well, there was
I think it's
hang
just too
on.
new. It's too fresh.
Yeah.
It was only a couple years ago.
There's a video game which I want to talk about later. I don't know how to pronounce this. It's YIIK, and it's inspired partially by the story of Elisa Lamb.
YIIK.
Yeah. I don't know how it's pronounced. It looks like, hold on, I gotta look it up now.
I'm looking it up, and
It's
it
a
does not look like something that has to do with it at all.
postmodern. Well, it's inspired partially. I think part of the synopsis is oh, here it is. A Japanese style RPG set in the late 90s after witnessing a woman vanish from an elevator with no plausible cause.
Interesting.
So, yeah. So, I'll talk about that at some point, but yeah,
Yeah,
I shouldn't say it's based on, but it definitely pulls inspiration from that story. So,
interesting. But
yeah.
yeah, that is the story of Cecil Hotel, Hotel Cecil, the Cecil, Stay on Main, whatever you want to call it, and its many suicides and accidental deaths and murders.
Yeah,
And
really.
it's a very interesting place. I honestly was thinking, I was like, oh, could I even stay there? I'm like, I don't think I could. I think it would make me really
Mm-hmm.
uncomfortable.
Yeah, yeah.
Make me
I
way
think
too
there's
uncomfortable.
well, I have a story for you.
I'm
Not
so
really
excited.
it's not really a story, but there is a couple of news beats. I'm doing a couple of different things today because well, I'm talking about a couple of different things today because it's been tough with the
I would say
gaming
everything's pushed
industry.
back.
Yeah, so but there was some actual news. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that to light
I
for
can't
you and our
wait.
listeners. So first I'm going to talk about Ubisoft and the new Assassin's Creed Valhalla trailer. Have you watched it?
I have not, and I need to watch it because Eric was talking about maybe getting it because he had never really played Assassin's Creed, and he thinks that he would be more interested in Valhalla.
Okay, here's the thing. You can slap Assassin's Creed on just about anything, and I will be willing to play it.
You're like,
Because I
uh huh, yep, sounds good, yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you the trailer. I'm gonna send you the gameplay trailer, and I use the term gameplay in quotes
Quotes.
because, well, we're gonna get there.
Okay.
Um, and then I will send you the world premiere cinematic trailer, which is whoa.
I can hear it.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I pressed the wrong one.
That's pretty funny.
You can. You're like you can. I can hear it.
Did you want me to watch it now or later?
Yeah, so that you can kind of know what I'm talking about.
Okay. It looks very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it looks really
Ooh.
interesting.
So that was the quote unquote gameplay trailer. And after we're done recording, I can send you the cinematic trailer. But
It already started auto playing the cinematic trailer, but I'll watch that afterwards because it's like 5 minutes
okay.
long.
Yeah, it's a long trailer. So that's the gameplay trailer. But so the big news here is that there's a lot of people just aren't happy with that trailer because so there's two main criticisms,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, there's probably more than two criticisms, but the two
The
that
two
are
main ones.
the two main ones, yeah, exactly. That trailer, there's like what, maybe 4 seconds of actual gameplay. Like,
That's true. It's not
yeah,
really a gameplay trailer. It's just
right.
more. It honestly seems like the cinematic trailer.
I know, and it
Like there's no gameplay. It's just visuals, which
exactly.
is
It
fine. But
really
don't label it as that then.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. It was just another cinematic trailer, and if they had advertised it like that, it probably would have been received better.
But people are
Um,
like, "What the fuck?"
yeah, but I mean, like, if you look at the comments, they are super harsh and like downright mean.
Okay, I can't. I have to go back and look at the comments.
Yeah,
Wait,
I mean, they're like
I'm
really
gonna
rough.
read some out loud for everyone listening.
Yes, go
Oh
ahead.
my god.
I told you.
The only thing being played here is us. Nothing is true. Everything is cinematic. Very strange camera angles in this gameplay trailer. Looks like a hard Assassin's Creed to play. LMAO. Gameplay trailer. Amount of actual gameplay equals 0 seconds. Cinematics are not gameplay. Unless the whole game is an interactive cutscene, they've just changed the definition of a gameplay trailer. Where
Where
is the
is the
gameplay?
gameplay in the
Uh,
title?
in the title. Mom, can I have a gameplay trailer? Me, Mom, we have a gameplay trailer at home. Gameplay trailer at home.
Yeah, so the comments are read and like look at the likes and dislikes. Ready?
Wait, let me go back up.
24,000 thumbs up to 46,000.
Damn,
And that's
that's
more than it
rough.
was. That's more than it was when I was looking this up earlier. When I was doing the notes, it showed 45,000
So it's
dislikes.
even
So
more.
that's yeah. So
People are like, what the fuck? I'm surprised they haven't tried to rename it yet.
well, okay, so Ubisoft on for their part, they did acknowledge that they did kind of set some wrong expectations. Like for example, marketing manager Aaron Greenberg tweeted out his response to the negative reaction by fans. He said, "quote unquote, had we not said anything and just showed May inside Xbox show like we did last month, I suspect reactions might have been different. Clearly, we set some wrong expectations, and that's on us. We appreciate all the feedback and can assure you that we will take it all in and learn as a team." Praying hands emoji, green heart emoji.
All right then.
Valhalla's creative director, Ashraf Ismail, sorry if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, had this to say in response to the reaction. "Quote unquote, you rightfully expected to see more today. We have a long marketing campaign ahead of us, and you will see in depth gameplay and get a lot more info about the game. Thank you for all your excitement and passion. Be patient and kind. Be patient with us and kind. It will be worth it."
Okay.
So they acknowledge that they kind of fucked up.
They dropped the ball.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the trailer is for what it is. It's epic and it's beautiful, but it's not a gameplay trailer. It's just another cinematic trailer, and people are mad about it. So,
Understandably so.
yeah, I get where they're coming from. Do they have to be as mean as they are? I don't think so.
Absolutely not. It's not that serious, but
Right, right.
it's just the type
But
of culture we live in, unfortunately. But they it did need to be addressed. So like, okay, this isn't a gameplay trailer.
so I mean, yeah, they're allowed to be upset, and I get it, but don't be so mean about it. Like the devs work real. I mean, clearly they've worked really hard on this game. It looks incredible. It's beautiful. It's just not what people were wanting, and so like angry children when they don't get what they want, they get mad. Don't at me.
That's just the life that we live now, unfortunately.
Yeah. Now that's kind of it that I have for Assassin's Creed. There was a couple other things at the like the Xbox live show or whatever that kind of did the same thing where they said like gameplay trailer and but then it was more cinematic trailer than gameplay trailer. So, but Assassin's Creed's like the big title, so whatever.
Gotcha.
I'm going to move on to Animal Crossing.
I can't fucking wait.
You're gonna be really
So fucking excited.
You're gonna be excited about some of this stuff that I have to talk about. I wonder how many
Fucking
times
excited.
you and I are gonna talk about Animal Crossing over
That's
this
fine, and if anyone
podcast.
doesn't like it, go make your own podcast.
Yeah,
How about
really.
that?
Yeah,
I
really.
can talk about what I want on my podcast because
It's
I
true.
put in the hours, bitch.
It's true. It's true. So, people all over the internet have been data mining New Horizons for clues and hints and information about what could be coming in the game in the foreseeable future.
Oh,
And
great.
I am going to pass that information along to you.
Okay. I
um,
won't do that specifically because I'm like, I don't care enough to like I don't time travel. I
no,
don't
I don't either.
do anything like that, so I'm just like, okay, okay.
But it is some pretty interesting, exciting stuff. So,
Okay, I'm excited. Go
I
ahead.
came across the information when I was looking
If
what I was going to talk
I
about.
will, then
And
we should disclaimer if you don't want those things ruined, then skip.
oh, yeah. Yeah. This is,
This is your
yeah.
end of the line, pal.
Yep. I'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, we'll talk to you next week. We're gonna talk
Yeah.
about some Animal Crossing bullshit. Love ya. Mwah.
That's not happening yet. All right, so with that out of the way, I, like you, don't time travel. I didn't actually go through the data mining process or anything like that. That's way too much work and effort for me.
Yeah,
Um,
honestly.
most everything, if not everything, I have to share came from a Twitter user named Ninji or Eurogamer. So if you want to find out about those, you can go check out those things. But I'm just passing along information because I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
So as you know, you and I have both received the update for the museum that includes the art gallery, which had
Yeah.
been which had been predicted by Eurogamer probably a couple of weeks ago, if I remember that article correctly, but I just didn't get around to talking about it. So supposedly there's going to be another update that will include an exhibit for the return of gyroids in the museum.
I know so many people were so upset about gyroids not being in this game.
I I know I had been thinking about I was like I'm pretty sure like gyroids were like
They're a big
why
thing.
am I not digging them up? I
That was a
remember like
big, big thing. So, and
it's
I know a
true.
lot of people were mad about it. They were like, I loved my gyroids. I don't personally love them, but it
Mhm.
did feel weird that they weren't in this game
No, I
specifically.
agree. So apparently supposedly there's going to be an update where you can give gyroids to the museum. So that's a good place to put them. My okay, so the oldest of my younger brothers, I shit you not, like the you know how when you build your house, the first room that you can make bigger is like the main entrance room.
Hmm.
Homeboy literally filled up every possible freaking corner he could with all of the with all of the gyros I dug up
Ew,
in
why
that
would
room.
you? That's terrifying.
I don't
It must have been
know.
so loud in there.
He loved his gyroids. I'm sure he'd be interested to know that these are coming back.
Yeah,
Um,
honestly.
so data miners have also uncovered the possibility of some new standalone shops. The first one that I'll bring up is apparently there's going to be a museum shop, but
Museum,
what
like a gift store in the museum?
yeah, I guess so. I mean, I don't know what else it would be selling because like clothing, furniture, and knickknacks are cornered by the Able Sisters and the Nicklings, so I'm not really sure. Maybe it's like, oh, a fish T-shirt
I would
or
say something just a little bit That's interesting though.
yeah.
I
So
thought we had enough content like that, but maybe it's something a little bit different.
I don't know. I don't know. The next one is supposedly going to be a museum cafe run by the pigeon, the myth, the legend
Oh,
himself, Brewster.
I was actually thinking about the other day when I was playing
Yeah.
that I loved Brewster and I missed him so much, and I'm so glad.
Game files in mentioning the cafe, in addition to Islanders who mentioned Brewster, are proof positive for enough people that it's just a matter of time before we've got a little coffee shop on the island
I
again.
can't wait.
So there are videos of like Clay and trying to think of a couple of the other villagers. Scoot, I think, mentioning like if you talk to them, they'll be like, "Oh, Brewster said that it was bad to have 17 cups of coffee in 3 hours or
So
something like
they
that."
acknowledge that Brewster is a
They,
thing.
yeah, yeah. So he's in this. So he's been mentioned, which is for some people enough proof that he'll be
I
in the game
can't wait.
eventually. So, thank goodness for that because I do love me some coffee. Um, in addition to that, there are a little bit less information about it, but there's mentions of in the shops section of the data. There's mentions of gardening, real estate, and a gallery. Yeah,
A gallery?
yeah. I
Real
don't. I'm not.
estate?
Yeah, I don't. I don't know.
Hmm. I guess that
I
will
mean,
just be something that we'll have to see.
like I said, there's less information about that. And the last mention of shops isn't really specific to shops at all, but more of a mention of a door that you can use. But the aforementioned door is not actually a door available to us in the current game. It's a door that's simply labeled W Office.
W office.
Yeah, I don't know.
W.
I
I'm trying to
mean,
even think of what that it would be. W. At least in the
I
other
don't know.
games.
The only thing I could think of, like, not necessarily W, but maybe a post office.
Yeah, but the dodo's already.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And
I'm
the
not
post
sure.
office I think was Pelicans before, so W office doesn't super make sense. I don't know. That's
I have no
interesting
idea.
though. I'll have to think about that.
Yeah, yeah. Or oh, you know what? Maybe W because the dodos are named after the Wright brothers.
Oh, that's interesting.
Oh, that just like literally just now I was talking to you. That dawned on me.
Yeah, maybe it's that. I don't know. That's
I
interesting
don't
though.
know.
Maybe there will be a post office because technically I guess it's not that we don't have enough options to send mail. It's just more like we in every Animal Crossing there is a post office and this is the first time
Yeah,
there hasn't been.
yeah. So who knows? But W office, take that what you will. And since we're talking about new shops, we can talk about Nook's Cranny. You and I both have the current upgrade of their shop, but
Woot
according to
woot.
data that has been data mined,
Oh, great.
um, there's a possible third upgrade on the way.
Interesting. How can
Data
it get even
files.
bigger though?
Well, data files show that there's a potential second story, but how and
Mega
when
Mart.
players. Yeah. That's what I was just thinking. How and when players will be able to unlock it is still unknown. So,
Interesting.
yep. So, another leak is that there's an addition to the Critterpedia. Supposedly, there will be 33 new items to log in your pedia in a new quote unquote seafood section.
Seafood. Why? Because
Yep.
you can make
So,
like recipes or something?
well, okay. Yeah, you actually just kind of took my next point.
Oh.
Seafood. Uh, sorry, I
Too
lost my.
bad we're both fucking allergic to seafood.
I know, I know. Like the little Animal Crossing me in the game is probably really excited about that, but
Me
I
in real
in
life is like
real
black.
me in real life is like I will die.
I can't breathe.
But the seafood leads into the next suspected addition coming to the game, which is cooking. Apparently, the line "Get
Yes,
recipe
yes.
cooking"
I'm
has
in.
been
I am
uncovered in
for that.
yes. It's been uncovered in the game's files as well as an unused list of items named just dishes.
Dishes.
Sure.
It's
Um,
probably gonna have a lot of Animal Crossing, Harvest Moon, Stardew Valley all have very kind of similar type of feels,
uh-huh.
and those games have cooking. And
Yes.
Animal Crossing doesn't, and I always thought that was weird because it's not like we don't have the like there should be an option for that. We have every other option. We can design a house, we have
Yeah.
stores, we have fishing. We have, why
Yeah.
not have cooking? Especially now that we have
Yeah.
an island where we have fire and stoves and I don't know.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. The kind of along that same vein as like the Harvest Moon and Stardew Valley and what was the other game? Oh my goodness, the one that kind of took over Harvest Moon. Doesn't matter. Anyway, along the same vein as like the farming sim games, like the cutesy ones, apparently data miners have uncovered evidence that we'll be planting and growing our own vegetation, like tomatoes, wheat, sugarcane, potatoes, carrots, and pumpkins.
Hmm.
Yep. So maybe there'll be fruit to grow and harvest depending on what season you're in. Because, like, carrots and pumpkins are very fall, but sugarcane and wheat are very summery. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah,
who
exactly.
knows? Another interesting thing, specifically that Ninja found, were strings in the game file related to diving, even though there's no ability. Yeah, like
So
diving.
in Animal Crossing New Leaf, you can dive.
Yes, yes. So the strings for the diving have to do with creature and plant. So the deduction there is maybe we will be diving for like
Things to put in recipes, like seafood or
yeah,
something.
yeah, plants and wildlife that we can't get to right now. Like you said, seaweed, sea urchins, shrimp, things like that.
Interesting.
Um, the last thing that I have to mention, but certainly not least, Game Files also show Get Recipe Clothing, which looks like it'll give us access to recipes to make our own clothing along the same lines as, like, because you can craft straw, leaf, and grass clothing, and it'll probably function pretty similar to the clothes that
To
you could
that,
craft
yeah.
during the Bunny Day event, which I hope that the clothes that we can craft are not as ugly as the Bunny Day clothes.
Yeah, honestly, the Bunny Day clothes are an abomination.
Yeah, no, I hate them.
They're literally an
So
abomination. They look god awful and
they
they're
really
super
do.
annoying.
Except, well, I did make every Bunny Day thing because I'm just a completionist like that. I made every Bunny Day thing, and then I sold everything except for the balloons, the dress, and the hat. Because the balloons aren't that bad.
No, the
The
balloons
dress
are
and the
fine.
hat. Oh, and I did not sell the Bunny Day wand either because
I
that
never
shit's
got Bunny
expensive
Day
to make.
wand.
Yeah,
It's
those are
very
balloons are
interesting
funny.
though to I'm excited to see what comes.
Yeah, me too. Me too. So that's what I've got for gaming today.
Yay. Thank you for
Yes.
sharing and I'm excited to see what happens the next couple months. It's just I know there's not a lot going on because of the pandemic, so we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
I know our gaming news might be a little bare bones for a while, but we didn't also expect this when we decided to make a podcast. So
Yeah, really.
once things pass, I'm sure it'll be a lot easier to talk about games. But if you're into Animal Crossing, we can definitely keep bringing it up like every other episode, even if
Yeah.
it's just like a small update. Like this is what I've done in my town because I know a lot of people playing Animal Crossing right now.
Oh, me too. Me too.
But yeah, thanks for joining us again this week, and yeah, listen in the next one. And same thing as always, follow us on Angel. Do you want to take it away?
Yeah, sure. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Ghoul Gaming Gals. You can probably find us on Facebook, Ghoul Gaming Gals, and you can email us at ghoulgaminggals at gmail.com. And if you want to follow our dogs on Instagram, Arthurian Legendary Peppers and Eskimo Zero.
Thank you.
And if you want to follow my cats, it's Cats with Nerdy Names and Florida Panther Lily.
Yeah. And definitely, if you have stories or suggestions, please email us. We definitely are more than welcoming for it. And we can't wait to talk to you again next week.
Yeah.
Stay safe, everyone.
Yeah, do that too. Don't go outside.
Don't go outside.
Don't go
Stop it.
outside. Really.
Sit at home, please. And then, yeah. Bye,
Okay.
everyone.
Bye.